However, if you're a property manager out there and you want your property up on At Ease as another booking platform because you want these longer stays with verified guests that are on official government travel and they're getting paid for by the government, anybody out there can put their properties up on there.
It's a $9 billion market. I'm not talking about like vacation rentals. I'm talking about federal travel and hotel stay.
This is episode number 56 of the Short-Term Rental Success Stories podcast. Are you an investor that's looking to have your home professionally managed? Go to cohostit.com for more information. Welcome back to Short-Term Rental Success Stories. I'm your host, Julian Sage. This is a show where I talk to hosts about their journeys in starting and growing their short-term rental business. My goal is that you'll be able to walk away with practical information that'll help you become a better host and learn how to scale your business. Like any exceptional host, we all strive for 5-star reviews, so please go on over to iTunes and let us know what you enjoy, as it really helps support the show. If you haven't done so already, go on over to our Facebook group, The Host Nation, to connect with the community. Hey, what is going on, Host Nation? I'm super excited to be back again with you this week. So John and I were talking earlier this week about how out of these tough situations, like out of this pandemic, how people really start to get creative. And really, I think some of the greatest entrepreneurs and the most creative people come out of stressful situations. Many of the hosts that have been on the Success Stories podcast really have had backgrounds where they were just trying to get out of a situation. They were trying to pay for their mortgage, or they were trying to, earn some extra income. And then they ended up really starting just an amazing business. Myself, I tried just renting out my basement unit so that I could be able to cover my mortgage since I'm in the military. I don't get paid a whole lot. So just being able to cover my mortgage payments made a huge deal. Even right now, during this time where a lot of hosts are hurting, there's also some hosts that are coming out of this and they're getting really, really creative. John, I'm just always inspired by what he does, just listening to, the way that he handles situations. And really, I ask John almost every day, like, aren't you stressed? I mean, you have over 24 properties that are these arbitrage units, and you're also managing other people's properties. Are you not stressed about your investors, and are you not stressed about all these properties that you have to pay all these leases on? And for him, he's just like, this is part of the journey, is figuring out how to be able to, keep on hosting and keep on going. So I'm always inspired by people that are taking something that is challenging or difficult, or where people maybe don't see the opportunity, and then try to really just take advantage of what is in front of them. That expression, making lemonade out of lemons, I think is so true. And that's why in this episode, I'm super excited, because I had the special honor of speaking with Anthony Gantt and Greg Rollins. Anthony is based out of Texas and is an active duty Marine who founded this website called PCS at Ease, which is a direct booking site for military personnel to be able to relocate and find furnished rentals. We talk more about PCS at Ease, and is a really exciting thing that really, you could tell in this episode, I'm really excited to be able to talk about it, because again, it's one of those unique things that is coming out of a situation where they are trying to really just get more creative. But we also had the special honor of speaking with Greg Rollins in this episode, Anthony's partner, and Greg is located out of California, and he's a Marine veteran who founded a property management company called Righteous Rentals. Now, Righteous Rentals does have 19 properties across 3 states, and he's been able to scale from 2 to 19 properties in the span of 7 months while he was still on active duty. Now, Greg was able to scale from 2 to 19 properties in about 7 months, and majority of those still being while he was on active duty. In this episode, Anthony and Greg talk about how they were able to scale from 2 to 19 properties in 7 months just through word of mouth. Also, they share their experience of being in the military and coming up with creative ways to build a company and help other military people invest and make money passively through short-term rentals. Again, this is a great episode because it really just highlights the creativity and ingenuity of people when they are put in these situations where they're trying to either work something out or take something that is challenging or difficult and really try to make the most of it. If you like my show notes for this episode, go to shorttermsage.com/STR56, or if you like my show notes sent directly to your inbox every week, then go to shorttermsage.com/show notes. With all that being said, on to this week's conversation. Hey, welcome back, Host Nation, to another episode of Short-Term Rental Success Stories. In this episode, I have the special honor of speaking with 2 guys today, Anthony Gantt and Gregory Rollins. Anthony and Gregory, would you please introduce yourself to the Host Nation and let them know who you are and what inspired you to get into short-term rentals?
All right. My name is Greg Rollins. I originally got into short-term vacation rentals while I was still in the Marine Corps. I actually bought my property sight unseen while I was deployed with SP MAGTAF in 2017. I came back, originally planned to flip it, went over budget on the renovations, had somebody ask me, hey, have you thought about doing short-term vacation rentals? I didn't. So I dug into it, learned as much as I could, got ready to go deploy, ran my vacation rental while I was deployed in Okinawa, Japan. And then when I got back, it was a success. So I started telling some people about it. And then I just started getting people asking me if they would manage, if I would manage theirs, if I'd manage theirs. And so I just kind of started organically there. And then so when it came time for me to get out of the Marine Corps, I was up for orders last year, 2019, and I just decided to go ahead and get out and try and pursue this full time.
Awesome. So you were managing a property overseas in Okinawa. Did you have everything set up before you left, or was it just like, hey, I've got a property, I'm just going to wing it, and then you go to Japan and now you got this property that's taking people in and out?
No, it was pretty nerve wracking. Like I said, I bought it with the intention to flip it. I went over renovation. I'm actually in it right now. I went over budget on the renovation. So I was like, well, shit, I can't sell it. I looked at a long-term tenant, couldn't do that because the mortgage was too high. And so while I was renovating, I was educating myself on vacation rentals, and I really just kind of winged it. And I was just over in Okinawa dealing with really shitty cleaners. She was like stealing stuff from me. It was an absolute nightmare. But at the end of the day, it made me money, and I learned a ton about how to manage a property and how to make it really kind of automated, because obviously there's automation required when you're on opposite time schedules. Every time the guests are messaging me, I'm asleep or whatever. So there's automation that we built in, management and all that stuff, and then making sure that you had a team on the ground to do it for you, because there was no physical way I was going to be able to show up to the property. So they had its layers of problems, but it was an overall success.
Wow, that has got to be really stressful, and I definitely want to talk about that, but I don't want to leave Anthony hanging. So we're in the timeline. So you're managing this property overseas. You finally figured out the how to be able to systematize it. Other people are like, hey, can you do this for me as well? And where did that timeline go to where you met up with Anthony?
So that fast forward, I met Anthony shortly after I got out of the Marine Corps. So at the time, I was managing 2 properties with another 4 coming online. I met Anthony through a friend of a friend referral, and the first phone call we got on, we were like, we need to team up. We need to make this thing happen. And the rest is history.
Wow, awesome. And Anthony, I'll let you introduce yourself and how you kind of got into the space and met up with Greg and what you guys are doing.
All right, thanks for having us on the show today, and like what you're doing for the community. So I fell into it inorganically. I wasn't going to rent a property or anything. I was just doing a permanent change of station, which the military does for us personnel every 2 or 3 years. I had done a move at least 4 or 5 times in the last 4 years. So I was like, man, I'm getting good at this moving. So good, I thought I could use a vacation rental when I moved to Austin, Texas. And it was when I used it, which was like about $180 cheaper than what the government would have to pay for it, and wasn't reimbursed back in 2018 of June of 2018, excuse me. And when I didn't get reimbursed, I was kind of upset. I started doing some research and started doing some peeling of the onion, and I found out that the regulations, which by that all of us are at one time or another like bound by for the federal and the joint regulations for travel, kind of doesn't allow vacation rentals on a lot of the popular booking platforms. So I was going to do like you guys have done, buy a house and then manage it and put it on a site or make a site and do it like that. But I was looking in this place called Killeen, Texas, and every time I bid on a house, I was losing to people from overseas. I was like, who is buying this house at $20,000 over the price? So I couldn't compete there. Then I said, I'll arbitrage a house, right? It's kind of hard to get military owners who don't understand vacation rental. It's crazy how many people in active duty and the government don't understand the vacation short-term rental market. And it was like, no, you can't rent my house to go rent it out on something on a B&B. What? I was like, what country are we in? Then, like Greg said, 2019 of June, July, about July, August timeframe, a third party introduced us. I won't say a friend of a friend. It was straight third party. And when Greg and I got on the phone, I started talking acronyms. He talked acronyms back to me. We understood the acronyms and was like, we got to do it. Fast forward to like, October, November. Things start coming down. He get his new units online. So the madness is kind of tapered down. Now they're getting listed. We re-engage each other. He says, I'm coming out there because he was going to a conference in New Orleans for VRMA, Vacation Rental Management Association. And when he came back through, we stopped at Austin. We sat down kneecap to kneecap, went through a couple of things, and we said, all right, this is something that we need to work on together because we have the same passion and the same drive for the industry. So while I'm building the online booking platform and you're doing the property management, we'll teach each other the knowledge that we have for the different type of spaces within the same industry. And then we'll be able to be more successful by learning a little bit of what you do, but a lot of what I do. So yeah, that's how I fell into it.
I think that's so cool and what you're doing. And just to kind of recap, for those of you maybe that weren't following, what Anthony was building was this thing called PCS at Ease, which is a way for the military to be able to reimburse vacation rentals or short-term rentals, because right now, as it stands, nobody in the military knows what they all think. What's that B&B stuff? I don't want none of that. The people shooting each other and partying. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to educate and work with the government to be like, hey, you can stay and reimburse these properties if they list on the site because they're compliant to the DoD standards. So you guys are making sure that all the properties, if they are going to be listed on the site, that they meet the DoD, Department of Defense specifications.
Yeah, absolutely. To date, one of our team members in each of the states has gone out and inspected the homes. And that's the level of scrutiny we want to put into it, because it's a lot that goes into if it's not up to standards that can occur, like 5 years in prison and $10,000 fine, which I don't think Greg wants, neither do I. So we had a lot of people tell us, you can scale really quick because it's an abundance of short-term rentals. We're like, yeah, but all of them aren't compliant. So we are looking for other homeowners and property managers that have homes that want to list their properties with us. They just have to understand that we're going to have to send someone from our team to physically inspect and verify that that home is in compliance. And then the registration process with the government, that's another podcast for another show.
Yeah, that'd be a year-long podcast. That process is, man, the Coast Guard's still back on Windows 95. Like it's going to take us a while.
The important thing is that we do it for you. So what Anthony left out there is that when you sign up with At Ease, we actually do all the paperwork and stuff with the government to submit all that stuff for you.
Yeah, I think what you guys are doing is so cool. And I want to, highlight to everybody that's listening, because people that are listening to this show are real go-getters, and they're really, they're thinking outside the box, and you guys are thinking outside the box. The traditional, the old model of real estate investing, it's very saturated. Everybody's kind of thought about what to do, how to do it, working with the military, doing this, doing that. But this space in the short-term rental world, there's so much untapped markets, so much untapped niches, and you guys, I love it. You guys are two military guys. You guys were hustling while you're in, you're hustling while you're out, and now you're taking your experience and you're coming up with these creative ways to be able to make it easier on military people. But also, this is a really great way to be able to build you guys' management company. I think it's really cool. And I want to, I definitely think that that's awesome. You two are doing that. Now, I wanted to talk about your guys's, Greg, you're scaling, because you're scaling really quick too. You went from 2 to 19 properties in around 7 months, was it?
Yeah. So when I got out of the Marine Corps in July of 2019, I was managing 2 properties. And then since then up to date, We have 19 total. So 17 from July to now, which should be right around 9 months, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's been going really good. And the cool thing about the military network is they're pretty tight. So word passes around pretty fast. So we haven't done any marketing or anything anywhere. All we're doing is telling our story, and people that we're bringing on, homeowners are telling their friends, and it's all been organic. So it's been really awesome.
And the majority of these properties are in the San Diego area. You guys are both located in San Diego, or you guys are remote?
So I'm located in San Diego. Anthony is up in Austin, Texas. He's the ROTC instructor up there for UT. And then we have another team member who's not on with us today, that's managing our properties out in Norfolk, Virginia. So we have one in Texas, in Central Texas, with a couple more on the way. And then Norfolk, Virginia, we have 3 listings with probably another handful on the way. And then the remaining 14 or 15 are in San Diego.
And this has all been organic through word of mouth?
Yeah. So mutual friends, other real estate investors. Mike Foster, who's one of the founders of ADPI, his properties are the ones that we're actually managing in Norfolk, Virginia. So they're actually physically his properties. So and then just friends of friends, people in the military community. Every single one of our homeowners, with the exception of one, is either active duty or a veteran.
Wow, so you guys are helping active duty guys make more money. Can you kind of talk about that? Like, what are the returns that these active duty military guys are able to see off their properties if compared to, let's say, if they were long term renting it?
Yeah, so that was one of the main reasons I got into this. Was I was able to make a profit where there seemingly was none with short-term vacation rentals. And San Diego presents kind of a unique situation because the appreciation here is really high, but the property values are going up and up and up, but the overall market rents are not raising with the price values of the homes. So what you're seeing is an inversion where the amount of rent that you're able to get for your home does not cover your mortgage. And so it's fine when you're here and you're, stationed at Camp Pendleton or Miramar or Point Loma or wherever, and BAH, and you're covering all that. But when you go to leave, you don't want to be losing money every month. So you go into this situation where either you're selling the home at a loss if you're not able to get enough for appreciation, to cover your closing costs in the time that you're here, stationed here, or you're renting it out to try and take advantage of the appreciation at a net lost cash flow every month because the mortgages are too high. So I wanted to come in, having experienced that with my Okinawa deployment and having to find that third option. I want to take that third option to everybody and allow all the military members to be able to invest and make money passively while they're focused on doing what they need to do.
Now, you guys said that you have a pretty diverse team. You have you two are business partners. You also said that you have a regional manager, and then you also have individual property managers in specific locations.
No, so we had another manager underneath us here, or underneath me in San Diego, to kind of help me grow a little bit more. But she has since stopped working with us. And then we have another guy in Norfolk, Virginia right now, who's managing our properties over there. Eventually what we're going to do is we're going to, fire ourselves and hire people underneath us as those regional managers so that Anthony and I can focus on business growth and getting this out to as many locations as we can.
And I want to add to that real quick. The type of managers that we're looking at on our team are similar to the ones that we're talking about that own the homes are veteran and military spouses. Not saying that's going to be our total package, but I think that's going to be a preponderance of who we bring onto our team as teammates, because they're culturally confident when it comes to speaking about what goes into like moving a lot. And then they'll be able to have a wealth of knowledge because they move every 2 or 3 years. No one travels more than the military personnel. So they'll be like industry experts to whatever place they go to. As soon as they get there, they have to get on the ground and learn things real quick. So as guests start coming to these different markets where we have vacation rentals located, short-term rentals located, they'll be able to speak like a local because they've adapted to that area. So, and it also helps our military spouses. I don't think a lot of people know outside of our community that military spouses can have PhDs, but since they move so often, they're unable to actually use that PhD. So we want to make sure that we bring opportunities to them to where they can work remotely, but still earn a decent income while they're doing it.
One of the big things, like what you guys are trying to overcome is like you said earlier, Anthony. There's a lot of technobabble in the short-term rental space, and when you're talking with military people, everybody's got this like mindset of just purchase a property, you either flip it, wholesale it, or do something like that. Nobody really knows about the short-term rental world and that you can turn your properties into short-term rentals. How are you guys overcoming the objections or the fears in like the military community? Where it's that's very scary. You have a property and you're going to be moving, and now you're going to be trusting it to somebody else. How are you guys overcoming some of those objections or those fears that military people are having?
Introduction and education. Right. Greg does a great job at educating people. He has I want to say 2 different brochures that he pushes out to want to say, hey, here's the vacation rental industry. Here's the return on investment. And then here are the metrics that we put in place for safety. Right. We've teamed up with, I don't want to drop no names, but we've teamed up with companies that provide insurance outside of what the platforms provide, so that the guests can have, depending on the house, because we're not going to give the same coverage for a house in California as the house in Norfolk, Virginia, right? So 100, 500, up to $1 million, that they were like, hey, when the guest comes in, they automatically sign up for this insurance. And then we also have devices that we put in the home. Don't want to drop names again, like if people start to party, right? We get that awareness because the noise is too much.
I wonder what tool that is.
No clue what tool that may be. So we're using the resources that are in the industry that a lot of our military folks don't understand about, the STR jargon, and say, hey, these are things that we put in place with Righteous Rental. This is how we go out and manage ours. We're setting a standard. I know other people have standards for how they do it, but we're like letting them know, like, you're used to a standard for the military. This is what we're doing. We're just bringing all of this military over into what we do in our business model.
And I love it because you have PCS at ease where it's like you can say, well, yeah, we're working with the government, like we're meeting their standards, so you can trust us that we're going to be making sure that your property is taken care of. I think that's a really good a really good play as well, and building your guys' credibility. With all these properties though, I mean, you scaled up to 19. Now you guys are kind of spreading across the US. You said you're going to be hitting Jacksonville, Tampa area, DC, more of Central Texas. How and these are all military communities, correct?
Yes.
And now how are you guys working with them to be able to get those properties up and running? Are you fitting everything within like your particular Righteous Reynolds brand, or how are you furnishing these properties if they are remote?
So going on what Anthony said, education not only on the management side but also on the investment side. So and leading into your question as far as furnishings and stuff, when we meet with a client that's doing a PCS move or whatever, we have a very candid discussion on, hey, this is how much money it's going to cost to get this thing up and running. Do you have any furniture that you're leaving that you're not, that you don't want to take? So again, helping out with the PCS move if you're downsizing from a house because you have a mansion in Washington, D.C. because it's cheaper, or Norfolk, Virginia because it's cheaper, and then you're moving to Southern California where it's way more expensive, you're probably going to downsize with whatever your family budget is. So here's an opportunity for you to not have to worry about, furnishing all that, the entire property. You can leave some of it behind. We have designers on our team that will take what you leave behind and build a cohesive image for the property. But then the overall education on, what is a good investment using your VA loan, talking to them about all the costs associated with it, where you're going to have to pay for toilet paper, laundry, cleaning ladies, all that stuff. So just educating them on all of that stuff so that they have a overall cohesive image of, is this a good decision or a bad decision? And I personally will refuse to go into business with somebody that it's a bad decision. Even if they say, hey, I want to do this, I'm like, no, I don't want to put you in a bad situation. And I've actually turned people away before. I've told them like, nope, your better play is a long-term tenant or a sale. Just because, at the end of the day, we're here to help people and we're not here to put them into a worse situation than they already are. So education, absolutely.
That's got to be pretty scary. Being military, you're purchasing a property and then you're going to be leaving. One of the things though that it's are you guys finding a challenge? Because if the military people are, if they're purchasing this property, maybe their intent wasn't to short-term rent it. Now they're moving. Now they're looking at their options and they're coming to you guys saying, hey, can we turn this into a short-term rental? That's, moving can be sometimes a big expense, outside of what the military gives you. Now you're telling them like, hey, you need to put X amount of dollars into a property. And you have to basically furnish it for us to get it up to our standard. Is that what you guys are doing?
Yeah, and we have different options. We have, as Anthony was saying, we kind of offer different packages, ways where, Righteous Rentals will help with the furnishing costs, and then we'll get paid once the property's up and running. So we'll do like some type of deferment program or payment plan or something like that. Like I said, we're here to help make a stressful, a situation that shouldn't be stressful, that it really is, less stressful. That's the overall goal.
Yeah. And I want to caveat that we're looking at creative packages in addition to what we already do, because we've had homeowners who expressed like, I still want to sell it, but I want to not have to, and they know it's going to sit on the market for at least 3 or 4 months. We haven't refined that model just yet because it's early to people coming to us like, so we'll say, okay, let us think about this. If we can hack it for that 3 or 4 months, where's the short-term rental? We work with your real estate agent or broker. When it's time for a open house, hopefully it's not San Diego during the summertime because it's going to be booked every day, right? They can come in and see a furnished home while it's up for sale. They leave after the open house, and then we get a guest in there. So we try to play. We're looking at how do we make it work during that cleaning window, whether it's 10 to 3 or the 11 to 4 that most people have set in place so the cleaners can come in before the next guest. How do we make it work where we have the cleaners come in and then turn it over to where we can have an open house in that time window and then get the person in? And as it's getting ready and they finally sell at home and they close, we can extract everything and they're a happy customer.
So you guys, in your guys' management model, you'll even take properties on, even if it's only going to be listed for a few months?
That's the plan. We're still working through the it sounds good, right? But the minutia of making that soup, it's like, did we put the right amount of salt and pepper? Right now, it's a whole lot of junk, and it's like a drop load.
Again, Julian, at the end of the day, we just got to make sure the numbers make sense. So like if they're not going to fully furnish a house for 3 months and then turn around and sell it unless they can recoup all their monies or whatever. Another benefit that Anthony was kind of hinting at there with having properties that are for sale is we'll have guests that'll actually stay in the house. And again, if we're doing this correctly, then it's probably going to be people military members that are PCSing, maybe on house hunting leave already. And so we could have a sign in the house saying, you can move in right now and you can stay here and you can buy everything as is, or we can move out the furniture and you can move your furniture in. So it'll just be more exposure for those real estate agencies, those real estate people that are trying to sell their properties to get more eyes on it.
I love that. I love that you guys are coming up with creative ways, and I could even see this not even having to be specifically for military. Like there's a whole untapped market in the the civilian sector where you have furnished properties, and it's like, hey, you like what you see, purchase it as is.
Yeah.
And now a management company can basically facilitate the short term, but then also the sale and the potential long term tenant. So now a short term rental management company can basically have this whole package where they're taking a person through this whole through this. I think that's brilliant. You guys are onto something. I love it. What has been the most challenging part of starting your guys' short-term rental business?
For me, it was cleaning lady management. Again, just being gone, especially for those first 7 months while I was over in Okinawa. I kind of rushed into my first cleaning lady, and because I was getting ready to go out the door and deploy, and I was like, I just need somebody and I accepted somebody that I shouldn't have accepted because I needed it, and I put up with a lot more than what I should have while I was gone because of the uncertainty of not being able to get somebody else in there and then having a guest show up to a dirty property. So it was extremely stressful there for the start. I think since I've gotten out, I fired her very shortly after I got back. Like I said, she was stealing stuff and moving stuff. At one point, she actually took the microwave from my property to another one of her properties, which wasn't mine. And I found out about it, and she was like, oh yeah, well, there was nobody there. And I'm like, it's not your microwave. You can't just take people's microwave. But since then, I've gone through probably 5 or 6 other cleaning ladies. And I think the biggest challenge has just been that standard. Like Anthony was saying, it's very hard to hold a standard for 2 Marines. And we have pretty high standards, which again, I think that sets us apart, but it also makes it challenging to work with people because what I've experienced after I got out of the Marine Corps is the civilians definitely don't have the same mindset.
So about those standards, what about the first cleaner what was the mistake that happened with there? And now where have you've refined that to where you can now find reliable cleaners?
Yeah. So she was missing a whole lot. She would come and she would just kind of wipe things down. There was a lot of stuff left in the corners. She wouldn't get under the couch, under the bed, those kind of things. She would, I think at one point she was actually blowing in my kitchen with a blower as opposed to sweeping. So that was really weird. And then the other ones that I've gone through have been mostly timeliness and honesty were probably the biggest things. We've since moved to a a cleaning lady management system we use properly, which is huge because they actually have to take photos of the property. So I'm able to visually inspect without having to drive to all of the properties. So that's been a huge help with kind of managing them and really weeding out people that aren't willing to be held to a standard because I don't know if for all of you listeners out there, if you try and hold somebody to a standard that's not used to being held to a standard, there's a lot of tension that develops very quickly because they're not used to it and they freak out. And so if you hold somebody to a standard and they freak out, then it's probably a good indicator that they're probably not a good person to work with.
So it's not so much about their cleaning ability as much as it is their values.
Yeah, I would say, you have to have a ton of trust for having somebody be in your house without you being present. Like the amount of things that they could do, stealing, whatever, like drugs, they could do anything in your house without you being there unless you have cameras or whatever. So there is a huge amount of trust that has to be there. And so having the right values and, making sure you're not lying. So there's a couple times I caught cleaning ladies in a lie and I was just like, I'm not going to work with you because if I can't trust you for something simple, then I'm not going to trust you with being at my house when I'm not there.
And what has it been for scaling this business? And especially for you guys, because you're a team and you're trying to build a team, how does scaling a team as well as you're growing your portfolio, what has been the most challenging part of that?
Let me add to that, Greg. Challenging with the scaling is the different markets, finding those people of integrity and with a work value, work ethic that will hold. If you make an appointment to do it, do it. Don't cancel 5 minutes before we expect you to be at the place to do it. In addition to the cleaners, just general contractors to go in and get the work done for a fair price. I say again, a fair price. some of the homes are in neighborhoods that they just like, oh, I'm going to charge 10 times as much to do the same job as I did. I'm like, dude, you just did this on another house. We want the same price. They're like, yeah, but I'm doing it over here. Like, all right, you fired. It's building that team and network of individuals that you can trust in those different markets. I think we've been lucky so far. We've been falling to some really, really good people. And after you meet one good person, like our cleaning lady that Greg found in our cleaning management company, we call them a teammate instead of an employee or a client, because they're a part of our team in Temple, Texas. Her dad happened to be an Army Sergeant Major E9, and he was a hard as nails. So her ethics are like she's up there with what and I was like, oh my God, like, where'd you find this lady? And her team is amazing. Like, we on constant basis are talking back and forth with them. They're giving us updates and telling us about things that need to be fixed that we might not have seen or caught, or our team haven't been able to catch, and we get it taken care of. So it's just finding people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult, but it's possible. You just gotta call around and call and keep calling.
Yeah. And then we got the cleaning company in Norfolk, Virginia is actually run by a retired Navy senior chief as well. So
I love
think
it.
We're partial to these people.
Man, and now you just need a Coastie doing something.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go.
All right. We'll figure something. But awesome. And but with your guys' team, like internally, like Anthony and Gregory, both of you guys, and working with a regional manager, how does the dynamic of an internal team work as you guys are scaling? Like, how has that been? You guys are, Anthony, you're still active military. Gregory, you just got out, and then you have another person that's you're trying to build as managers. How does that look as you're scaling?
We have, I want to say weekly because that'll be a lot. We have daily meetings. We go through our metrics, right? Like, hey, what do we have to accomplish? What do we need to accomplish? What do we want to accomplish? What would we like to accomplish? So we're taking a lot of our basic military foundation and just, it's second nature for us to like do these plans and these operational things. This. And since we have like a little cheat code that was given to us from the military, we're just using that cheat code to keep those same metrics. In our minds, like the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, Coast Guard, what have you, is able to manage itself for the last 200 plus years. If we follow that model, maybe we'll be able to make something that lasts for 200 years, right? And our daily syncs, weekly syncs, and then our quarterly syncs, our month, like Greg, for the management aspect, Greg has outlined, like, what do we have to do daily? What do you have to do weekly? What do we have to do monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, which is helping us stay on the path.
So you guys are actually like using like KPIs, like key performance indicators, and trying to hit those numbers. What are those numbers? Like what is some of the things, like, all the non-military people that are listening, they're like, what are you guys talking about? Metrics and stuff like that? You're trying to hit numbers? What are you, a sales team? But in the military, that's what you do. But what are some of the things that you're doing and implementing into your business that has allowed you to be able to scale?
Figure out how we fire ourselves, right? Like taking very good notes of what we do on a daily basis and make sure it's captured so that one day we can build like a manual or a video of this is how you do that. And that is helping us identify what we need to get. So when we hit those key performance KPIs, we're like, okay, this is an indicator that we're doing something right. This isn't, so we need to switch from it fast. We're always looking for things to make us better. And we have no brand loyalty. So if something doesn't work, we'll drop it quick. Because we want to be effective, efficient, and we want to be able to not break.
Yeah. And then going along with that, making sure we're learning every day. So one thing that Anthony was talking about takeaways from the military and stuff, being an aviator, one thing you did after every single flight was a flight debrief. Whether it's just, from here to there, A to B, you're just transferring an aircraft. What did you do? What did you do good in your position? What did you do bad in your position? What did you learn? What could you have taken away or done better next time? And so we do that every single time with every single guest. Hey, what did they report was broken, or what did they suggest? If we and we have, metrics. If something is suggested on a property a certain amount of times, then we make the change. And so, listening to people, giving them what they want, building that brand loyalty, because at the end of the day, you are your brand. And so people are going to attach to that. They're going to identify with it, and they're going to be loyal to it as long as you treat them right. So making sure we're paying attention to what everybody's saying, whether it's the homeowners, the guests, team members, whoever, codifying all of that to make sure that we're constantly improving.
How are you guys managing? Because you're working with a lot of different, people and things. You're working with the DoD trying to get the regulations right. You're working with all these people that are PCSing, and that's stressful time as they're moving and trying to get it all. How many people do you have, or what are you doing to be able to manage all of this?
So right now it's just three of us. So it's me, Anthony, and Mike, our manager in Norfolk, Virginia. We're getting ready to partner with another property management company that also has a Marine Corps co-founder. And so we're looking to hand off the day-to-day management stuff of that, so that Anthony and I can focus more on the building the traveler experience for at ease, and then the owner experience, the military owner experience, and investment opportunities and the education and all that stuff. So we're looking to kind of step away from the day-to-day management. Still, we're going to partner with him. So like, we're still going to work with him very closely, making sure our brand is being upheld and all that stuff, but it's going to allow us to focus on the growth aspect of the company. So, right now, like I said, a lot of automation. We use Guesty as our property management software. So automated messages, all that stuff, streamlining. We use automatic locks, so nobody has to show up at the doors. It's extremely automated. It's built that way. It was intended to be that way. But again, from the guest experience, it doesn't feel automated. It feels very hands-on, and we built that very specifically.
And what about from the client experience? Like you guys are the traditional management model, so the customer acquisition funnel is a big part of your guys' how you're able to scale and grow and build this team, because it's not just operating anymore. Now it's taking a person, a military person that's moving and trying to list their property through this funnel. So how are you guys managing that client process?
Are you talking about like the onboarding process from?
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's really just kind of hands-on right now. Eventually, we're going to be hiring other team members, but mostly that's done by me and Anthony right now. Finding new clients, educating them, talk to them about their situation. Hey, this is how we can help. This is what we can do for you. Yada yada yada. But that's basically it right now. It's just me and Anthony.
A lot of coffee and burgers.
Yeah,
A lot of coffee and burgers.
late nights and phone calls, and yeah.
Are you guys doing anything when trying to, because if you're listing a property for somebody else, you have to, are you guys running the numbers for them? What are you doing to be able to analyze the property and make sure that if they are going to be listing it with you, that it will be able to be a profitable business venture?
Yeah, we do a full property package on the property. So we use analytic data from AirDNA, key data, a bunch of other metrics. But we do a comprehensive analysis on the property, and we give them our best guess. And we're very transparent about it. Like, hey, this is a guess. Like, could I have predicted coronavirus 2 years ago? No. Like, I had no idea this was going to happen this year. So again, that goes back to the education and be like, look, this is what we expect. However, it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, and that anticipation that we give is similar to what real estate agents give. Like, I think your house will sell for this much. They're taking a guess too. So we're using a lot of the same techniques that they do to apply it to that. But with a lot of analytics coming from other sites that Greg mentioned. One of the things that Greg didn't talk about that he does too is he looks at what's in that area that's going to attract people to come to it. What's going to make it a marketable location, and how do we make your property stand out from others before we actually say, hey, we're going to bring you on? Because all money is not good money, and we rather have a happy homeowner that's working with us than someone like, you guys told me we were going to do this. So what was it, Tampa? He was like, this don't make any sense. The numbers don't make sense. We're not doing it. I had to convince him that it was going to be a good thing. He's like, all right, we'll do it. I'll trust you, but I'm telling you, I don't want to do it. So we actually go back and forth and do a better analysis. And we'll if it's not a good deal, then it's not a good deal.
You know, what you guys are doing pretty unique that not too many other people on the show have done is you guys are really focusing on the direct booking channel. Is that something that is live currently, and how much of your guys' bookings are coming through direct booking channels?
So for the At Ease direct booking channel, it's live, but nothing's coming through it as of now. We just launched that in January of 15, so we're still building up brand awareness. So we still use the other OTAs out there to book all of the properties that are under Righteous Rentals umbrella. And as we continue to do shows like yours and get to these different conferences like the one you recommended and the one that I went to last week and the one that Greg went to in Vegas, I think there was more Vegas than the conference. We're getting out and we're meeting people and we're saying, hey, this new company exists and it's here to make some noise called At Ease and what we're doing. We have spouses who have contacted us that say we want to be the first users, right? And it's crazy. Listen to this. We need 65 days, or we need 45 days, or we need 15 days. That's not normal in the short-term rental industry, right? People are looking for 3-7 for vacations. When military move and they're looking for something when housing is not ready when they get to it, they're saying we need months. Because they don't want to get into a long-term lease when they're still looking for something when they get to a new area. They want to be able to get in, scope it out, check out the neighborhoods, check out the schools, and then commit to where they want to go. They don't want to close sight unseen. I had to do it. Greg said he did it. Not the thing you want to do. We're changing that. We're not trying to. We're changing that. And people, whoever's listening to your show, hear me now. When our guests come to you, they're coming for a lot of days, right? I say that because I get, hey, I want a minimum of 3 days. And I'm like, me too, right? But they don't understand that we are not getting the 3-day questions just yet. We're getting it. I want it for 2 weeks. I want it for 15 days. Can you do 35 days? I had a guy who was retiring who was like, I'm leaving out of Jacksonville. I need something right now. And I was like, I can't get it to you right now because I'm not in Jacksonville yet. He's like, I thought you had this company. I was like, we started January 15th. We have the company. We will have it, but you'll be out the service. Just remember so you can tell the other people in. But yeah.
That's January 15th of this year, by the way.
This year, 2020.
Right. You know, I think that there's just so much opportunity, and I love it. I love what you guys are doing because, you know, there's, you know, even in the direct booking space and in your direct booking site can also be a funnel for your management company. And can you kind of talk about how the structure of that works? So, you know, for those of you that are listening, maybe you haven't gotten to that point yet, but, you know, we're talking about some of this kind of next level stuff. But when you have a direct booking site, that's the top of your funnel, and that can be used to lead towards different services. What's kind of the structure of your guys' way with PCS at Ease and how that's going to fill other aspects of your business?
Go ahead, Greg. Take it away from we manage.
Yeah. So you should always, as a property manager, you should always be trying to direct people to your booking site. Obviously, you know, you're not going to have to pay commission fees and all that stuff. The problem is, you know, getting that traction, getting that those eyeballs on you. It's a lot harder, you know, when you're running your own property management company and you're, you know, maybe like 5-10 listings to get the attention of, you know, an Airbnb. Like you're not going to get the amount of attention that Airbnb or people just not shopping on your website. And we don't have a culture right now of people going to individual booking sites. And so that's on each individual property manager. When you have a guest stay, if they're coming back, that's your opportunity to send them to your website. That's your opportunity. To go into your question about At Ease and Righteous Rentals, absolutely. Yeah, we're obviously working hand in hand. You know, Righteous Rentals is the property manager for At Ease. So if there's anybody that stays with At Ease that needs property management, we're more than happy to help. However, if you're a property manager out there and you want your property up on At Ease as another booking platform because you want these longer stays, you know, with verified guests that are on official government travel and they're getting paid for by the government, anybody out there can put their properties up on there.
You know, there's so much untapped market that I don't think that people are really even looking into yet. Like, you know, like I have a friend, I have a friend that has a direct booking site in Florida. It's I think it's called like Flurbo or Florbo. It's like Florida vacation rentals by owner. So people that are looking to stay there, they can stay and book directly through there. But it could be even to different types of niches. It could be like, Colorado skis. Colorado ski rentals, and now you have a direct booking site for people that are trying to go to Colorado that don't want to have to pay the OTAs,
Right.
Airbnb, and that 13% that is from the customer and the on the host side.
Yeah.
So you're saving a lot of money, and you're also driving direct traffic, and you could potentially get a future clients through that, because you're managing properties, you're listing them for them. I think it's brilliant what you guys are doing. I really love it. Now just kind of hit on some of the last questions. What would you do differently if you had to start from scratch?
If I had to start from scratch, I would make sure that I vetted that first cleaning lady better. That was probably the biggest pain in the butt. Other than that, I thought we did pretty well. I think the biggest problem you see with people is analysis paralysis, where they're afraid to like take that leap. And I was deathly afraid, especially because it was my house. It was freshly renovated. I literally finished the renovation 3 days before I went on my deployment. So I got to live in my house for 3 days, really. And I was turning it over to people that, could possibly trash it, parties, all that stuff, all the stipulations. But, I was forced to kind of take that leap. And so, I was forced to do that. Everybody else won't be forced. So I would believe that a lot of people out there would kind of just be afraid to take that leap and be afraid to take that risk. But as long as you manage it, using all the techniques out there by vetting guests, making sure, you're paying attention to what they're doing, using some of the technologies out there available for you for background checks, noise protection, all those kind of things, you should be fine. And so I would just recommend that people just go ahead and just take the leap, because it's worth it.
All right.
I couldn't agree more. What I would have done is started a lot sooner. I went through a couple, since I'm in Austin, it's very startup-y, startup centric. I went through some accelerators and some not accelerators, but incubators. I guess it's one accelerator. And I learned a lot really fast. And I let being active duty slow me down. Until I actually started talking to my commanders and CEO and things of that nature that encouraged me, like, this is a great idea. I think you should move forward with it. Of course, they said, just don't let it impact work. And I was like, absolutely not. But once I got that confirmation from higher, it was like, go. And since I went on like turbo mode, it's been an amazing venture. And it's a $9 billion market. I'm not talking about like vacation rentals. I'm talking about federal travel and hotel stay. $9 billion.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about vacation, because I think the hotel industry is like, the vacation rental industry is like about 9 billion, which is like I think it's like a 6% of the whole hotel travel industry. But you're saying 9 billion is just
the military and government.
Just military. Wow.
Government at large. So when they do conferences and when they go to these different meetings, we have like 4,600 agencies that make up the government, and they all travel across the world. When I did the numbers and said how much is spent on hotels just for lodging, I was like, this can't be a B. Like 9 would a B. And then broke down the numbers is about 4.4 in the United States. I was like, oh my God, why am I taking so long? That if I can do anything different, I would have got moving much sooner, much faster with the booking platform.
Yeah, you guys are onto something. You guys got my gears turning now. Taking direct book, because this show, we're also focused on just the operations and the scaling of the business, but we're not thinking about the other side, which is direct booking and because Airbnb, it takes up a lot, but what you guys are doing is you're looking at these creative ways. I love it. I think you guys are onto something.
Brilliant. What we're doing is we want to work with as many hosts as possible, like yourself and others that are near like federal, like you're in DC, so like you're like, we can't wait till you start listing on our site, right? Because we're going to be able to give you a better daily rate for your average daily rate, because we're using the per diem metrics, and we're tying into like, we're making sure that when you list with us, the bang is worth it, right? You're gonna be like, wow, I list here for like $50. I can list here for whatever percentage more, and still get people who are not going to trash my house, right? And our goal is to try to stay as booked as possible. So once you get on, Julian, and you start telling more of your listeners about how much money you're making with At Ease, I think you'll be one of our best ambassadors for what we're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. I think it's cool supporting other military people. It's and where do you guys see short-term rentals going in the future? I mean, you guys are working with the government, which is, a little prehistoric. So, but where do you guys see it going?
So it's not going anywhere. It's the same thing as Uber and Lyft industry to the taxi industry. It's just the way that it is. And I think a key indicator was, when vacation rentals first started getting popular, here at the beginning of the teen years, you saw the hotels lobbying against it and like, oh my God, we got to get rid of this. They're lobbying against it. Now all of a sudden you're seeing Marriott vacation rentals or Hilton vacation rentals or whatever, or they're turning their hotel rooms into suites. Like that to me was like a key indicator of like, okay, they finally realized that they're not going to win this battle and they need to start changing their ways. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's just going to be the way people travel. Obviously, Anthony has a phenomenal story. Like he has a wife and 5 kids and, 6 kids. Sorry. He's just a rabbit over there. He was told by the government that all he could get was a 1-bedroom hotel. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? So people want to be able to buy a vacation rental and cook their own food, not have to eat out, have a bed for their kids that's not a cot, have a living room for them to watch TV in instead of all being crammed into one 4x4 square room, and especially with the military and all that stuff, like the military, while they're not doing any type of vacation travel, they're not stopping moving. So right now with like coronavirus and everybody else that are, vacations coming to a halt, people aren't traveling for pleasure right now. The military is still moving. The military is still, and summer is a huge move time. So most of the moving happens for the military in the summer. So we're actually going to take advantage of that and go to a bunch of property managers and be like, look, we can fill all those cancellations for you. We'll give you somebody that's going to be a good, responsible tenant that's going to make you money as opposed to an empty spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you said a lot. That was good. That was great.
Anthony's just like, I got nothing left. Well, last questions here. What question would you have, or would you ask the next professional host? Maybe someone that is in a similar place than you, or maybe someone that's at that next level, or even kind of specific to you guys, like in direct booking side, like how are the other people building it, or whatever question you might have. What would that be?
I would ask them, why are they doing it, right? I'm always asking the why behind the things. Like, if it's for money, it's okay, I get it, but this is a lot of work. Like doing the management aspect of it and guest relations and making sure that you're like, what's that host status you have, Greg?
Super host.
Super host?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not that great at that part, right? To be a super host is a lot. I argue with Greg every day about having to buy bottles of wine. He's like, it's a super host. That's what we do. I was like, all right, I'll buy the wine, but I don't think people should be getting wine so they don't get at a hotel. Yeah, so, why do you do it? You have to really like this. You got to be passionate about it. And for me, my passion is, how can we help more people, like Greg said, be comfortable when they go on a vacation, be comfortable when they move. I want to back up a little bit. I know what I wanted to say when you said, what's the future of short-term rentals? I don't think people look at it the way I look at it. Short-term rentals have been around for a very long time. There was a baby born in a short-term rental in a manger. Right? He had to go get him
Jesus.
for the night.
Jesus was in a short-term rental. Yeah, I guess that's true. Jesus was the OG for the short-term rentals.
He's the OG for the short-term rentals. So, like, people have been doing it. It just, we've come back to like what's natural for us to be in a community, to be in a home. Hotels are old too. Neither one are going away because you have people who want to do different things for different styles. So I just think that more people just got to realize it's here to stay, and it's popular, and it saves money. It's comfortable. But for the next guest, why are you doing it? And if you are doing it for the right reasons and it makes sense, we want to work with you.
And my question would be really how are you doing your marketing? Because like I said, we haven't really done a whole lot of marketing. It's all been just word of mouth and talking to people like you. And so I am notoriously bad at social media marketing. Anthony makes fun of me for it all the time because he's like much better at it. But really, that's a realm that I'm just not super good in. And so that would be kind of my main question. What are you doing to market yourself? How are you getting new leads, that aren't just organic leads? So that would be my question.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for jumping on here. I think it's just so cool. I love just talking with all these people. You guys have such an interesting story. It's really real. You guys are military guys that are helping other military people, managing other military properties. You guys are, really, really hard for the military, and I love it. So I'm going to include down below all the links, PCS at Ease. Also, for those of you that are interested, myself and hopefully Anthony and Greg are going to be at this thing called Veterans Live, which is just for military people. This is other people can come, civilians can come, but it's catered towards military veterans. If you're looking to get into anything about real estate, whether that's wholesaling, buy and holds, fix and flips, I'm going to be talking about the short-term rental side, talking about rental arbitrage and co-hosting and introducing military people to that aspect. But if you just want to be with other military people, it's a event that's all the proceeds go to charities. So the speakers are going to be choosing which charities it's going to be going to, all military charities, their favorite ones. And so come join us. Go to veteranslive.com. I'm going to include a link down below for that. Hopefully I can see all the military people that are listening to this at there as well, because I know we have a few of them. All right. Well, thank you guys. And until next time, Host Nation, keep on hosting. Hope you hosts benefited from the show. If you found value, please go on over to iTunes, leave us a review, and let us know what you enjoy about the show. If you'd like to talk to hosts that have been featured in these episodes as well as the community, go on over to our Facebook group, The Host Nation.